Good morning, students. 2 days back, we have started with the topic liquidation of companies, where we have seen the concept of liquidation, the reasons for liquidation of companies, the effects of liquidation, and what next process is followed by the company for making payment to all the liability holders. Because after liquidation, the main task will be to whom the payment should be made in a particular sequence, and for that a person is appointed who is called as a liquidator. Liquidator is the person who is appointed to realize all the assets and make payment for different liabilities. After realizing the assets and after making payment of all the liabilities in a sequence, a liquidator prepares one statement which is called as liquidator's final statement of account. This statement is just like a cash book. The debit side is the receipt side, which shows from which sources the amount is realized. The credit side is the payment side, which shows the sequence what is followed for making payment for different liability holders. This particular statement is submitted to the company or to the court, whosoever has appointed that particular liquidator. Now, today we will concentrate on this particular statement because that is very important. The debit side, as I said, is the sources side. The first item is the cash in hand with the company or the bank balance. The second, amount realized by selling the free assets of the company. Free assets means the assets which are not given as security for any of the liability holder of the company. And third, if any particular asset is given as security, then the surplus amount realized from that asset after making payment of that liability. So surplus from the asset given as security. This is the third source. So first is cash or bank balance. Second, amount realized from free assets. Third, surplus from the asset given as security. Clear, everybody? Okay. Now, on the credit side, that is payment side, the first payment is made for the legal expenses. Second payment is for liquidator's remuneration. Whatever responsibilities and duties are performed by the liquidator, he gets returns for that, and that is in the form of remuneration. Now, this remuneration can be paid in 4 different ways or by making combination of these 4 ways. First, a fixed sum which is assured to him. Second, a certain percentage of the amount realized by him by selling the assets. The third, as a certain percentage of amount which is paid to preferential creditors. And fourth, a certain percentage of amount which is paid to the equity holders. So fixed sum, percentage as a sale of asset, percentage as a payment made to preferential creditors, and percentage as a payment to the equity holder. These are the 4 sources. Then at the third moment, payment is made for the cost of liquidation. Then at the fourth stage, payment is made for preferential creditors. These are the liability holders who have got priority of payment over other liabilities. So payment to the preferential creditors. Then payment is made to the debenture holders. If debenture holders enjoy a floating charge on all the assets of the company, that means they are not given any one asset as security, but they have got a floating charge, a general charge on all the assets of the company, then they are paid amount at this fourth stage. Which amounts are paid to them? Their original face value plus interest which is outstanding till the date of winding up of the company. So if a winding up has taken place on 31st March, then under all circumstances they must be paid interest up to this 31st March. Now, if the company is solvent, that means if the company can make payment to all third party liabilities fully, then debenture holders get interest till the date of their settlement. That means if they are paid all their dues on 30th of September, then they are paid interest from 31st March onwards till 30th September. This is very important. This interest is paid only if the company is solvent. Whether company is solvent or insolvent, they must get interest up to winding up. That is up to 31st March. But this next payment they will get only if the company is solvent. Followed? Everybody? Clear? Okay. Now, after debenture holders, next payment is made for the unsecured creditors. Who are unsecured creditors? Those who are not given any asset as security. So, creditors, bills payable, outstanding expenses, likewise. So, they are paid after debenture holders. After unsecured creditors, next payment is made for preference shareholders. Preference shareholders get the face value plus arrears of dividend if any, and if such provision is there in the articles of association, then they get these payments. And at the end, whatever cash is left, that is paid to the equity holders. So the first payment for legal expenses, then for remuneration, then for cost of winding up, then for preferential creditors, then debenture holders, then unsecured creditors, then preference shareholders, and then equity shareholders. So this sequence must be followed by the liquidator when he is making payment. Now, very important issue. Suppose the shares are partly paid, then there are two situations. One, if cash is not sufficient to pay for the liabilities, and second, surplus cash is there, so how to distribute it. Now, the point is very clear. All the shareholders should bear the loss or should enjoy the cash in the same way. So, if cash is not sufficient, then call will be made depending upon the different classes of shares, their paid up value, and accordingly company will make a call and funds will be raised for making the payment. So this then becomes the fourth source of income for the company. But when it is made, when cash is not sufficient, or some of the shareholders have paid extra amount as compared to the other one, so in order to make them or to bring them on par level, this call adjustment will be made by the company. If excess cash is there, then while refunding the cash also, those who have already paid more to the company, they will get first the excess amount what they have paid as compared to other shareholders. They will be brought on par, and then the next cash left will be paid equally to all the shareholders. So if call is required to be made, or if excess cash is to be returned to the shareholders, the same logic that all the classes of shareholders should bear the same loss or should enjoy the same cash as compared to the existing shareholders likewise. Okay, so now I feel all the students must be very clear about the sequence what we have followed. In the exam, what is asked to you? You are asked this particular liquidator's final statement of account, and for that debit side you should show these main three sources and call if required, and credit side you should show all these payments in this particular sequence. Now, in every category or heading of receipts or payments, there are n number of other important points also which needs explanation, which we will be doing in the tomorrow's session. But today you should understand this format. Okay, thank you very much. I am sure you must have followed all this very well. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Thank you.